Welcome back, everybody. Episode 3 of our 5-part series, all about business, strategy, motivation, all of the things. If you've heard the other 2 episodes, hopefully you're hooked by now. Yesterday, or our last episode, we talked about the strategy and how to develop it. Today, we're going to talk about the perils of deviating from it. All right. It's very, very easy to get distracted. It all really boils down to one core concept of the shiny object syndrome, but we're going to dig a little bit deeper into that with the hopes that you will be able to learn from some of these lessons yourself. And myself, I have learned from them, which is what gives me the wisdom and the authority to be able to speak to you about it because I've been there. And if you haven't yet, learn from my mistakes. That's what I'm sitting here with my boy Aiden. He's my assistant. He's going to be asking me questions. And we're just going to lay right into it. Aiden, what's up?
Hey, Dan, let's get started, shall we?
Yes, sir.
Now, my first question is, without proper data to base decision making off of, how is anyone to know whether to shift course and pivot their strategy or continue trying?
I believe what you're asking is, because there's a difference between deviating from the strategy when you know it's trash and just giving up too early. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, because they don't have the proper data and the proper evidence to know if it's trash or not.
So first off the rip, if you saw the last episode, you understand the mechanics of the. All right. If you saw the first episode, you heard, the shine, or not syndrome. You saw, the difference between real entrepreneurs and people that have a passion and a hobby. What you're at now in this series is, how do I know my idea is good, right? If you validated your offer and you've made some sales, your idea is good. It's been validated. If one person will buy, 10 people will buy. If 10 people will buy, 1,000 people will buy. It's just about now how you position your marketing. And guess what? That needs to be one of your major steps when you lay out your business plan or your strategy, as we talked about in episode 2. So to get to the question here, how do we know when it's time to pivot? Because a lot of us, myself included, are guilty of stopping too early. It is 100% because you get distracted. You get discouraged by something somebody said. You don't believe in the process. And the reason for these videos is ultimately so you can lay out a plan that is going to be much easier to stay on track with. But at the end of the day, you just got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in your vision, your idea, your thought, your passion, your purpose. And that is the whole reason we lay all this stuff out. We validated our sales. We've made a sale we know people want, right? We've laid out a strategy on how to sell more of it. And now we just have to stay in the pocket, all right? Giving up too early is the biggest killer on any business enterprise. A lot of people self-doubt, imposter syndrome, et cetera, et cetera. If you know that you're in it for the right reasons and you help people, it's actually required of you. It is expected. It is your obligation to serve the people that you help. And if you quit doing that, you have failed not only them, but yourself.
So, cutting deeper into this of not being, or of being, let me say that. Cutting deeper into this of being discouraged and quitting too early and not continuing to believe in themselves and in their mission. What do you personally believe is the largest or one of the largest hidden internal reasons that people change strategies early and don't continue on their path?
Because they don't believe it. That's it. The reason that people don't continue on their path is because at some point, some sort of doubt crept in. You start with this big idea, this big thought, lots of dopamine rushing through your brains. You're just excited. The serotonin levels are huge, right? You talk about it nonstop. And then you get into the trenches, you put your plan together, you start doing the damn thing, and what happens? You start doubting yourself. That inner doubt creeps in. It is the killer of those dreams. And then if you start listening to it, it's going to creep in further. It's going to wedge its foot through that door, and before you know it, it's wide open, and you give up. And without risk of going into foo-foo, nonsense, you got to say no to it. You say it to fuck off. Say, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to stay focused. The doubt can get out the door, and I'm going to do it. Do the damn thing, right? But only if you know that it helps people. Only if you know that people want it. If nobody wants it, and nobody's buying, if you've never made a sale, chances are maybe your offer's just bad. Let me know in the comments. Give me your offer in the comments. I will personally reply and I will say, listen, okay, that is a good offer, or that's not a good offer. All right. If it's a good offer, keep going. If it's not a good offer, let's pivot. Let's do something different. All right. Let's fail quick, pivot fast, right? Fail quick and often, learn from that and go on to something else, because we only got so much time at the end.
It sounds like what you're saying is that temptation is the assassin of discipline. Would that be a fair point?
Temptation is the assassin. Love that. And it's right. You're tempted all of the time. And it's not just imposter syndrome. I mean, you're tempted to go hang out with the boys. You're tempted to go hang out with a new girl you've been seeing, right? I'm not saying don't do that, but you have to prioritize what it is you want to do. I told my sister this. She's much younger than me. She's 26 now, but when she was just graduating high school, I remember specifically saying to her, after she had said to me something along the lines of, oh, I'm only in high school once, right? I want to enjoy the time with my friends. And I said, you know what, honey, you're right. You should be enjoying your time with your friends, but let's go risk versus reward. All right. Number one, how close are you with these friends? You might be close with them now, but how close are you going to be with them? All right. The work you do now, the effort you put in, the foundation you do now is going to set yourself up for when you're later on, 25, 30, to be able to do whatever the hell you want, right? Those friends are still going to be smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, drinking beer, getting pregnant, living in this small town while you're off doing bigger and better things because of the work you're putting in now. Put in the work now so you can enjoy the reward later, right? She grew up in a small town in northern Wisconsin, 200 people. It's actually gone down since I graduated high school. The population has dwindled. That doesn't happen in many places in the United States. That's how small town this place is, right? Nothing against them, but there's not a whole lot going on there, objectively speaking. Guess what she's doing now? 9 years later from that conversation, she's working in a high-rise in London, England, looks over the Thames River, and she interviews entrepreneurs for a living. She's starting a whole new business, a startup on her own, on the side, on her hustle. And guess what? We talk about this all the time, her and I. Strategies, point A to point B, major steps, minor steps. She's following the same things I'm preaching in these videos.
Side note, that message legitimately gave me goosebumps.
Which part of it?
I think the part of you saying that what is going to happen in the risk and reward, what is going to happen in 5 years? Are you still going to be very close with them, or are you going to be able to do whatever the hell you want? I think that was very much the part that I was like, wow, that's true.
That's right.
And they are still going to be living in the small town.
And the reason I love that you're interviewing me, for those of you listening and watching this, Aiden is, how old are you, Aiden? 20?
20.
Yeah, and I'm in my early 40s, right? So there's a huge gap between Aiden and I, but we still vibrate on a similar frequency. I just have experienced a lot more than he has. So I'm able to talk to Aiden and be able to get instant feedback so that I can put it out there. Aiden's a very motivated person, which is who I'm trying to speak to and help them. So the fact that you got goosebumps and you related with what I just said only means it's going to relate to other people on it.
That's very, very true. That's very true. So it sounds like then.
Also, you guys see my dog, right? Hey, the kitty. Right there. Hey, Ned, how are you? How are you?
We can't see it.
All right. Anyway, sorry. You can't see him on your end, but I can see him on my end.
Your background is blurry.
But I'm saying on the recording end, you can see.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, so Dan, it sounds like the reason that people deviate off their path largely is due to them not believing in themselves. But another point is that they're not patient enough. They aren't patient. So my question is, why is patience, which is a relatively simple sounding process, just believe in yourself and stay patient and it should work out, why is it that patience is actually one of the most difficult processes in order to develop Let me say that sentence again. Why is patience, which is a relatively simple sounding process, actually one of the most difficult processes in order to develop competency in? when it comes to business?
Simply put, patience is hard to develop because it's such an easy. It all comes down with the confidence to competence, right? If you don't have the competence, you're not going to develop, excuse me, if you don't have the confidence, you're not going to develop the competence. And patience is the easiest scapegoat to say, oh, it didn't, right? I wasn't patient enough. It wasn't happening fast enough. You just default to it. You don't blame the patience because that makes you look bad. You blame the journey, the strategy. Something wasn't right. People weren't buying. Nobody wanted my product. It's nothing to do with that. Be real with yourself. Back to my sister, one of the biggest lessons I've ever implemented into her was the victim mentality trap. So many people, oh, everybody's out to get me. Everything's somebody else's fault, right? Taking responsibility for every decision that you've done is going to help you develop the confidence to eventually turn into getting into the weeds a little bit there. What I'm really trying to say, if you can take responsibility for things will open up. All right. So if you go into business and you say, oh, well, I quit because it wasn't working. Nobody was buying my stuff. They didn't like my business. It's not that they didn't like your business. You just didn't present it well. Right? You didn't write that sales page in the right way to get people to buy your stuff, right? You didn't do something specifically that didn't get somebody to take action. It's not their fault for not taking action. It's your fault for not compelling them to do. And again, if you believe in your project and if you believe in your solution to the problem that your people have, it is up to you and only you to put it out there for the world to consume and to solve the problems on a greater scale. If you quit, if you give up, you have nobody to blame but yourself.
Capitalizing on opportunity is a direct result of self-accountability.
So look at you. You're already learning. The definition of success is super cliche. You've probably heard it. The definition of success is when opportunity meets preparation, right? If you are ready and trained and knowledgeable and thinking about something enough, when that opportunity comes, you can jump all over it. Take real estate, for example, right? You could have the best deal in the world. You could have a house that's going to be worth $1 million when it's done, right? It costs, you need $200,000 to fix it up. It's going to be worth $1 million. And somebody says, hey, I will sell this house to you for $100,000 if you can buy it right. You get first dibs, right? $100,000. It's going to cost you $200 to fix up, $300,000. You can sell it for $1 million. It's a $700,000 prize at the end of the day. If you don't have $300,000 laying around, guess what? You can't do it. That opportunity you were not prepared for, right? Now let's say you have all the money, but the opportunity's not there. You're also not going to find success. Both of them have to be married. Both of them have to match at just the amount of time. And that's why a lot of people, going back to the patience thing, they don't want to learn stuff because they don't see instant gratification. That's the difference between people like you and me that are listening to this, and me and Aiden who are talking about it, and normal people. Normie, regular, everyday people. There's nothing wrong with that, but they live a different life than what we aspire to live. And that's what we're talking about. Preparation and success comes with the opportunities.
I'd like to push a little bit on that point. Do you think you need to be extraordinary in order to be prepared, or do you think any average person could become prepared without being extraordinary?
Great question. You absolutely don't need to be extraordinary. You could be the most average person ever, but you have to have some semblance of an extraordinary mindset. And by that, I just mean open-minded enough to understand that there's a lot to learn about a lot of different things. And the more you start consuming things at a meta level and just learning slowly, as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. How do you devour a whale? One bite at a time, right? How do you think I've learned to speak in the way that I do? In the concepts I've had, because I've lived them. I've learned about them. I've experienced them. I've consciously went out of my way to study these things, right? And any old average person can do that. I don't care if you're 15 or 55 or 85. You just got to pick up a book and start reading. Listen to a podcast. And as Aiden and I have talked and debated and argued about, don't listen to crap that's propaganda, putting propaganda and filling you with these biases. Just read self-help books. Have you noticed me at any point injecting any into my politics or personal agenda in here? No. I'm just giving to you the facts, objective things for you to learn from. So pick up a book, listen to a podcast, and think to yourself, okay, is there any hidden agenda here? What am I learning from this? If anything, the hidden agenda will likely be in good content that they're going to sell you on some sort of coaching program. Because again, me giving you this information, I'm not making money on YouTube. I'm not trying to get your views. I am trying to build a relationship with you, the listener, so that eventually down the road you say, oh, hey, you know what, Dan, maybe I'm going to reach out to him. Maybe I'm going to have a conversation with him. Maybe you become a client. Maybe we do coaching. Maybe I do consulting with you and your business, right? Alex Ramosi does that model. He gives all of this free content out, but his hidden agenda is that you do really well, and then you come work with him and give him money so he makes money, right? That's my hidden agenda. I'm not trying to give you my politics. I'm not trying to give you my viewpoint, my religion, or anything that I believe in this world. I'm just giving it to you straight so that you can learn from it. Maybe one day down the road we work.
Want to ask a question on that? I don't have a question on that to follow up with. So instead, we're going to shift directions a little bit. What is your personal rule for giving a strategy enough time?
Good question. I mean, at the end of the day, man, the strategy, whether or not you've given it enough time, it's good. You're going to know it deep. Bringing my sister back, she's asked me about a lot of very important decisions a lot of specific things. And I say to her every time, I'm like, you know the answer. That's it. She knows the answer. And if you're well-versed and well-educated enough, and you've done your research, and you know your market, and you've listened to these podcasts, these YouTubes, and you've done the stuff, you're going to know. Whether it's a day, a week, a month, or a year, you're going to know. So be honest with yourself. Be real with yourself. Hit me up in the comments and let me validate it. I'll let you know if I think if it's something to stick up, to continue with. Because nobody likes to just do work for months on end and not get any reward. I get that. Everybody wants that quick payoff, which is, good or bad, whatever. I personally don't like it, but you got to get paid at some point, both in a reward of actually succeeding and actual monetarily so, right? You got to get paid at some point. So as Aiden said, when has that been too long? When should you pivot? You're the only one that knows the answer to that, but let me know and I'll try to.
And our last question for this video, Dan. What would you say to someone who's tried everything, but they remain consistent with nothing long enough to pick what they would like to stay consistent with?
I would say to that person that I was that. I did that for many, many years, and I still struggle to this day with it. I'm like, man, I'm putting in this work. Why am I not where do I want to be? But I have to remind myself on a daily basis that goalpost is always moving, right? I have my medium rocks, but the big rocks, they evolve, they change a little bit. So don't beat yourself up. Just stay focused on the long-term goal. If you don't, you look at what you don't have, or you look at how far you have to go. Sometimes you got to take a peek at how far you've come, right? And I hate being foo-foo, motivating, Dane type stuff with that, but that's a real life thing. 10 years ago, I thought I'd be further along than I am now, but holy cow, have I come a long way. And a lot of stuff has happened along, a lot of external factors. Things evolve, things change. You just have to have that overall strategy to be your roadmap to keep yourself disciplined, to keep yourself focused.
And an outro?
Okay. What is deviating from the strategy?
Perils, deviating from the strategy. The next one will be, if you can't delegate, you do not own a business.
Okay. All right. That's it, everybody. This has been the perils of deviating from the strategy. I know these are kind of, sometimes they're all over the place, but really what we're getting this for is motivational content to help you get to where you want to be. So in this 15, 20 minutes, however long it is, if you've gotten a nugget, if you've gotten a little piece of wisdom, comment, hit me up, let me know, right? Because I want to learn from what you're learning so I can continue to make the content that helps you guys. My goal when I record these videos is going to be to make you shake your head, to make you say, yes, this is what I'm thinking. I want to pick up in the conversation already going on inside of, but that's getting into copywriting and so on and so forth. This is episode 3 of our 5-part series. Our next one is going to be, what was it, Aiden?
If you cannot delegate, do you really own a business?
Now that you've gotten yourself going a little bit, you have a plan, what it's going to be like in the trenches. right? Working on your business instead of in your business. And this one will be more for people who are already a little further along than maybe some of you listening. Check that out. Episode number 4. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.